Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Director of Public Prosecutions to review social media sensations case. Police hint at limited party venues for upcoming Emancipendence celebrations. And later in sports, Jamaica ends World Championships with 10 medals after 3 silver on final day. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. The probe surrounding social media sensation DonnaLee Donaldson, who vanished nearly 2 weeks ago, is intensifying. It comes as investigators from the Jamaica Constabulary Force are expected to meet with the Director of Public Prosecutions and her team to discuss the way forward. More in this report from Cody and Barrett.
The police and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions are set to review the case of missing 24-year-old Donna-Lee Donaldson in the coming days. The JCF said it has made significant progress in the investigation and has collected a considerable amount of information about Miss Donaldson's disappearance.
At this point, we believe that a conference is appropriate. And that's what usually happens if an investigation is moving in this particular direction.
Miss Donaldson has been missing for 15 days, and since then, there has been widespread criticism over the pace of the police's investigation. But senior communications strategist at the JCF is of a different view.
When you hear CIB headquarters is marshalling, or is overseeing this investigation, that says a lot about the seriousness with which it is being treated. When you hear Communication Forensic and Cybercrime Division is working on this case, the Scenes of Crimes Unit is working on this case, etc., etc., it's a high-profile case.
In the meantime, the brother of Donna-Lee Donaldson, Alex Campbell, is appealing to social media users to be mindful of disinformation being circulated about his sister's disappearance.
I am ashamed. I am ashamed to the immaturity that you are presenting on the media. I am ashamed for the fact that you're not taking this case serious. I am ashamed because you, who call yourself a Jamaican citizen, are contributing to the corruption that we are fighting against.
And it's also a position Mr. Brooks supports.
I think social media and some of the people who are presenting themselves as being aligned with her are not aligned with her. They're aligning with her to advance their own personal agenda.
For TVJ News, I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
Event promoters who are looking to St. Anne for the Emancipation and Independence celebrations will only have a few venues to choose from this year. The decision comes as the police tries to avert the traffic nightmare that normally occurs during major events along the North Coast. The announcement was made at the recent sitting of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation. Kirk Wright reports.
This was the scene in St. Anne on April 16, a traffic jam from every angle. The reason? A party at the UDC-owned Pearly Beach. The traffic gridlock left people stranded for up to 5 hours, with some opting to walk to their destination. But with Independence and Emancipation holidays mere days away, the police have made it clear that certain areas within the Garden Parish will not be allowed to host parties.
On 2 occasions for this year, where we have a major gridlock because of events and other antisocial behavior of motorists on the road. So we're not gonna give somebody's venue permission to actually host these events.
Of concern too is the stretch of road leading from Knoxford Express in Draxall to Runaway Bay. He says, in a bid to reduce the traffic congestion, opportunities abound for bus operators and other entrepreneurs.
An improved transportation system on that corridor will help us a lot because we'd have more people carpooling and less vehicles on the road. And I also look at, for the entrepreneurs, an investment opportunity where you can have a express bus service from Otrius, say to Runaway Bay, where we could eliminate the movements of traffic on the road.
DSP Bailey further noted that car parks will be available in Ocho Rios and along the Duns River stretch to lessen traffic congestion. In the meantime, he's imploring residents of the parish to conduct their business before peak hours or to utilize online modalities to conduct transactions in a bid to help with the traffic congestion. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
The 26 individuals who were admitted in hospital yesterday following the fatal crash on the Landover Main Road in St. Anne remain in hospital. 4 persons were listed as critical. CEO of the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, Delroy Morgan, says the surgery was successful for 2 persons who are now recuperating, while the other 2 are being assessed for surgery later today. The hospital has been plagued with a bed shortage issue. So how was this addressed in time for the arrival of the crash victims?
While the medical team was working on managing the patient inside of the A&E, there's another team was going through our ward, looking at patient that we could discharge today, and that was done. And we also reopened a ward that we were working on in terms of refurbishing that ward to accommodate some additional patients. And what we have found is an additional 12 bed space. And so some of those patients are still in A&E under observation. And so we're managing it. We can't let the fact that we are bed space challenged determine how we take care of these patients that came in as a result of the mass casualty.
There are more criticisms from the parliamentary opposition on the government's handling of the energy sector. Details in this report.
For opposition spokesman on energy Philip Paulwell, the impact of rising fuel costs globally, the cost of electricity, and the inevitable increase in transportation cost point to one thing.
I've never seen such mismanagement of a process by a government.
Firstly, Mr. Paulwell pointed to the ending of the Petro-Caribe agreement that saw Jamaica getting fuel from Venezuela on concessionary terms. He noted that the deal shielded Jamaica's economy from hikes in global fuel prices in the past.
We should be forever grateful to the people of Venezuela and the government of Venezuela. But we don't have Petro-Caribe anymore. It has been one of the single largest failing of this government in terms of foreign policy.
He also pointed to and questioned the government's handling of the Electricity Act. He says, among other things, the law would promote competition and keep prices affordable.
The law required that after 5 years of implementation, it should be reviewed. So I call upon the government after they won the elections that they were in breach of the law because we're gone to 2020 and no review. So eventually, they started this review last year. And then something strange happened. In February of this year, the committee submitted. Review done.
The record high increases in the price of fuel globally has impacted every sector. Mr. Paulwell predicts it will continue to skyrocket.
The JUTC, which has announced last week that it has no money to pay for fuel. And there's only one way I know them know how to raise money. So as we get back to school, the people are going to be faced with higher bus fares. The old people are going to have to face higher bus fares.
Mr. Paulwell was addressing supporters in a PNP divisional meeting in Catadupa, St. James on Thursday.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us, much more when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. TVJ News has been informed that a suspect has been arrested in connection with Jamaica in Sunday's breaking and fire at the St. Catherine Parish Court's administrative office. Now, he was picked up yesterday evening during an operation in Riverly Spanish Town, St. Catherine. $500,000 believed to have been stolen from the courthouse was seized. 2 units were dispatched to extinguish the fire, which started around 7:30 a.m. Following cooling down operations, it was discovered that several desk drawers and filing cabinets were opened and the office was ransacked. This is the second time in a little more than a month that a section of a Spanish Town courthouse has been on fire. The last fire was on June 14, resulting in partial damage to the roof. The new toll rates for the North-South Highway took effect today. Jamaica North-South Highway Company recently published the adjusted prices for the Caymanas, Angels, Linstead, Unity Valley, Lidford, and Mama Bay legs of the network. The rates range from a low of $250 for a Class 1 vehicle traveling on the Angels leg and a high of $5,900 for a Class 3 vehicle on the Mama Bay leg.
Massey Holdings has expanded the capacity of its gas operations in Jamaica, a move which the company says is aimed at offering more competitive prices. At the same time, the company is reporting that the cross-listing of its shares on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE, in January this year has increased local share ownership close to 90-fold. Massey, a major supplier in Jamaica of LPG cooking gas, is also evolving as a fuel source for motor vehicles. The Jamaica gas operations earned revenues of $27 million in the quarter, or 23% of the group's gas revenues, which totaled $117 million in the quarter. In business internationally, embattled Chinese real estate giant Evergrande is expected to deliver a preliminary restructuring plan this week following the exit of two bosses. The firm says its chief executive and finance head have resigned after an initial probe found that they misused around $2 billion in loans. Evergrande has more than $300 billion in liabilities and defaulted on its debt late last year. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Belize health authorities have expressed concern at the detection of a case of polio in an unvaccinated individual in the United States of a vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2. The Ministry of Health and Wellness said Belize last recorded a case of polio in 1981 and that it has managed to achieve and maintain over 95% of anti-polio vaccination coverage except for the last 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, where the coverage has decreased to 78.8% in 2020 and 83.4% in 2021. The ministry warned that unvaccinated persons may acquire the infection when in contact with the virus. On the international scene, people are being told to stay out of Langley City's downtown core in British Columbia in Canada, with police saying there are multiple shooting scenes. An emergency alert was sent out across the region shortly before 6:30 a.m., saying the shootings involved transient victims. It added police had interaction with one suspect. Langley RCMP confirmed one man was taken into custody, but people are being urged to continue to stay out of the area out of an abundance of caution. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Renardo Brown will have your midday sports report.